Good morning and welcome to my kitchen. And yes, Granny is in her jammies today. One of my puppies had a pretty rough night. And let me get them a treat here. So we were up most of the night and I'm running a little late. Let me get my puppies a treat. This is Ryder and Lily. So today is going to be day 4 of our fermenting week. Sorry, I'm running late. I do apologize for that. And you're just going to have to overlook tired Grandma this morning. So on day 4, we went through day 1 where we started the sourdough starter. We went through day 2 as we fed the new starter and then what we did with it. Day 3 was yesterday, so today is day 4 of the sourdough starter, and we're going to be feeding it, and we're probably going to see a lot more activity today than we did on day 3. And on day 1 we started it. Day 2 we just had a little bit of liquid on top, and that's what we were looking for. So we fed it on day 2. On day 3, we had a little bit more activity, and we took our first discard out, removed some of the sourdough starter, and we fed it, and then we stirred it, and then we put it away in the pantry again for our 24 hours covered. So today is day 4. So today, we're going to probably see a lot more activity than we've seen in day 2 and day 3, and we're going to move it to a larger container. And I have right here as an example a loaf of bread that I'm allowing to rise for the day. Now this is not sourdough bread. This is my white sandwich bread that I make my own dough, and this one is going through a fermentation as well. It's doing its final rise, and once it gets up above my bread pan about so high, I'll go ahead and bake this today. So this is what we're going to be doing, not this type of bread. We'll be doing sourdough bread. Hi Grandma, how's your day going? A little rough. As you can see, I look rough. I had a puppy that had me up all night long. I think I slept about an hour, and I'm a little late because he let me get back in and take a little nap, and I just got up. So Grandma's still in her pajamas this morning, in PJ morning. So anyway, we're going to go ahead and do our day 4 of the sourdough starter. And I've taken it out of my pantry. Good morning, Granny. How's your morning? It's doing good. Hi, good morning. Good morning, Jamie, Jamel, and Betty, and Vids. Good morning. So today I took it out of my pantry. It's still covered in my dark towel. If you want to see how I started this whole week I've had lives. The first live was making the sourdough. The second day, the third day, and today's day 4. So this whole week I have fermenting and sourdough. So I took this out of my pantry. I've got it covered in my cloth. And today is day 4. And as you can see, I've got some bubbles going on in there. I got a lot of different things going on my day 4. So today, and I went a little bit over. Your kitchen looks clean. Oh, well, thank you. So I went a little bit over my 24 hours, but it's hungry. It's showing me it's hungry. It needs fed. So I'm going to move you closer here, and we're going to go ahead and feed the sourdough. And then today, we're also going to be moving this sourdough to a larger container. And also, I started off making my sourdough, if you were not with me, we started off with the white wheat berries because I was going to make banana bread, which I made that yesterday on my live. And if you're grinding your own berries, you have like a soft wheat berry and you have a hard wheat berry. And I went ahead and ground white wheat berries in my mill, my Nutri-Mill, and it's a stone mill, and that's how I started my sourdough starter, using the white wheat berry flour. Now, this morning, before I come on my live, I went ahead and pulled out some of my hard white wheat berries, and I went ahead and ground some hard white wheat berries. Good morning. Blessings to you. Well, thank you. Good morning. We are making a sourdough bread starter, and we're going, today's day 4, and how we feed our new starter. So this morning I went ahead and took some hard white wheat berries. Here is my leftover soft wheat berry flour that I started with. I just put it in a container, and this is my hard white wheat berry flour that I just got done milling in my Nutri-Mill, and it's a stone mill. You really eat healthy. You have done your homework. Oh, well, thank you. So today we're going to use the hard white wheat berry flour, and because when you're making bread, for if you're doing like a banana bread like I made, or a dessert, if you're grinding your own flour from your berries, your fast breads like your banana bread, zucchini bread, or desserts, you would use a white soft wheat berry and you would grind it. Hi, good morning everyone. If you're making bread, you want the hard white wheat berries, and that's what I have today. I went ahead and started my starter with the soft white, but I'm now going to put my hard white flour in because I made my banana bread yesterday. So let's get you down here and I'll show you what to do on day 4. And today's day 4. So I'm going to be taking some of my sourdough starter out again like I did yesterday, and I'm going to be discarding a little bit of it. I'm going to be moving it into a larger container. And then hopefully by tomorrow, it may be ready to put into my refrigerator. So let me go ahead and move this over a little bit. I'm going to go ahead and remove my rubber band, my coffee filter, and I'm hoping you can see that. Look at all of that. See all that activity in there? It's really hungry. And yes, this is a yeast. It makes a natural yeast. This is a sourdough bread starter, which is a natural yeast. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to stir this really good, but I just wanted you to see all of that activity in there and let you see all them bubbles and see how nice that sourdough starter has begun to come to life and ferment. Why does it take so long? How many days do you have to put it aside? It's a slow process at first. It takes about 5 to 7 days. All week this week we've been working with the sourdough starter, and on day 1 I just put 1/4 cup of flour. Now you don't have to have freshly milled flour. You can use all-purpose flour as long as it's not bleached. You don't want anything with bleach. And then, so 1/4 cup of flour and 1/4 cup of water. Your water has to be filtered water or bottled water, nothing with chlorine. And you just stir that up really, really good, and you want to see some bubbles. And then you would cover it like you seen me cover with the coffee filter and a rubber band, and cover it in a dark towel and just set it in your pantry for the 24 hours. And that would be day 1. And if you go back and look at my live streams this week, yesterday or Tuesday was day 2 and what we did with our starter. And then yesterday was day 3. Today's day 4. 5 to 7 days. It's worth it though. Oh yes, it is absolutely worth it. Now I've stirred that up and I'm hoping you can see all those bubbles in there. So before I discard anything, and with this small of amounts, you don't have a whole lot of waste. Altogether, you have maybe a half a cup. So yesterday we discarded 1/4 cup, and we're going to do the same today. So I'm going to go ahead and get my measuring cups over here. And I'm going to go, and you don't have to be precise. I'm going to take about 1/4 of a cup. And I'm hoping you can see those bubbles. See all that activity in there? I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to discard that. And as you can see from yesterday, it's a little more thick. And it's hungry because I did go a little over my 24 hours. But puppies come first. They're my babies. So now I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to take the rest of my sourdough starter. And today I'm going to move it over to a quart jar. So I'll have a larger container for my sourdough starter. So I'm just going to put all that in there. And I know that this is hungry. It's really hungry. So today I'm really going to feed my starter. I'm just going to set that aside. So today I'm going to give my starter a whole cup. Now I've stirred it up. I took out a discard. My 12-year-old daughter loves sourdough bread. I would definitely watch your video. I subscribed. Oh, well, thank you. Now I went ahead and stirred that up before I removed my 1/4 cup. So this is what I've got left. It's not a whole lot in this jar, but I want to give my starter some room. So today I'm really going to feed it. So today I'm going to give it 1 cup. Let me just spoon it in there so I don't make a mess. This is not a very big bowl. And this does not have to be precise. So approximately a cup. And this is the hard white wheat berry flour this morning. And I don't think I have my funnel. Let me get my funnel here. I had used my funnel to put my soft white berries in the other container, and I put it in my wash water and then forgot to get it ready. But it's all good. Grandma had a rough night last night with the puppy. But he's doing better. He's feeling better. So I'm going to put 1 cup of my hard white wheat berries in. And then I'm going to put 1 cup, no, it's my wheat berry flour. And then I'm going to put 1 cup of water. And I'm using bottled water. You can use bottled water or filter water, but do not use any water that has chlorine. Now you see why I changed my container. My sourdough needs a little elbow room, as I call it. It's going to be growing. Now I'm going to stir this up really good. My husband loves sourdough bread. It's one of his absolute favorites. That, and he loves cinnamon raisin bread. I think those are his 2 favorite breads. Now I want to make sure I'm stirring all of this down in there. I want to make sure I get everything down off of the bottom. Now hopefully by tomorrow this will be ready to go into the refrigerator. And by the 7th day, it may be ready to at least make some biscuits, some pancakes, and then possibly, if it looks like it's going to be ready, you can possibly make your first loaf of sourdough bread. Maybe by day 7 to 10. And then after that, you'll have your sourdough starter, and it'll last for a lifetime. So now you can see how much sourdough starter I've got in there. And I really want to stir that up. I really want to see those bubbles. And you can see how thick I've made my starter. So it's going to be thick. And I'm going to really stir it up because I really want those bubbles. Now I'm going to get me another little rubber band. You can use a rubber band. You can use a magic marker. You can use a piece of tape. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to find out where my sourdough is. So I'm going to kind of scrape this down so you can see where my level of my sourdough is. I'm just going to kind of scrape my sides down a little bit. Don't have to be perfect. I just want to see where my level is. And I'm going to put this rubber band right on that level. If you don't have a rubber band, you can use a marker or a piece of tape. Just something so you know what your level of sourdough starter is today on day 4. So I'm going to get that right up to my level all the way around. And then what I'm looking for is hopefully tomorrow this will have doubled, raised at least twice as high. And if it has, then tomorrow this will be ready for me to put into the refrigerator. So that's going to give me a line to measure. And I'm hoping that it'll be at least up to here tomorrow in 24 hours. I love sourdough bread. Yummy. So that's what I'm going to be doing today. Now I'm going to go ahead and give this another really good stir. I've got my rubber band on there. I know what my mark is. I want to make sure everything's stirred up really good. And I want to make some bubbles in there. Because those air bubbles is what helps this to ferment. So it doesn't hurt to stir it up really, really, really good. And get those air bubbles in there. Mix it all up together. Now I'm going to go ahead and we'll cover this up. And I'm going to put it back in my pantry for 24 hours. So I'm just going to put my coffee filter back on top. I'm going to put my rubber band back on top. And this week I've basically been talking about fermenting. And that's what this is doing. It's fermenting and it's turning into a natural. Now I can double check and see where my line is. And I want to make sure I have it right there at my level. And that's just for me to mark it. And then tomorrow, I want to see how much higher that raises above my rubber band. So that is feeding the sourdough starter day 4. So I'm not going to put the lid back on. I'm just going to leave my filter on. See if I can turn you around here a little bit. I'm going to put my dark cloth back on. And I'm going to put this back in my pantry. Sorry. And I'm going to cover it again with my dark cloth. And I'm just going to set this in my pantry. And then again, I'll take it out in 24 hours and I'm going to feed that. how do I, these are, I don't know what this is down here on the bottom. It says add questions to and stickers. That's strange. It must be something new. No, babies. So I'm going to put this back in my pantry for 24 hours, and then I'll come on tomorrow. Hopefully I'll have more rest. And Grandma won't look so rough tomorrow, but hey, we're getting this done. It's, I promised we would get through this week. We're making it through it. So I'm just going to set this in my pantry. My home temperature is set. My thermostat's set at 72. So that's what temperature I have this, just 72 in the pantry, covered in a dark cloth. So let me go ahead and put that away. And then I will come back on tomorrow and we will do day 5. And hopefully by day 5, it's going to be ready for me to put into the refrigerator. So basically, this is all about fermenting. And even though this is not sourdough bread, I actually made some dough. I made a homemade pan pizza on one of my lives. I think it was last week. I made an extra loaf of my white bread dough, and I froze it. So I took this out this morning, and I let it thaw, and then I shaped it into my loaf. So this is more of the fermenting. Now this is going through this one's final rise, even though this is not the sourdough. This is doing its own type of fermenting, but this was made with bread dough or bread machine yeast. And what I'm making right now is the sourdough, which is a natural yeast that's made naturally. So this is still part of fermenting, and you can see what beautiful dough that made. For my all-purpose dough, I use the same dough for loaves of white bread, for cinnamon raisin bread, to make cinnamon rolls, to make pizza crust. I absolutely love this. So if you want to see the recipe for this one, I did a live, and it was making pan pizza. So that's one of my lives last week, I believe. So that baker needs to go. Oh, that barker needs to go. Sorry. I have 2 Maltese puppies. One's a year old and one's almost a year old, one's almost 2. And we're real life here. Sorry about that. So then the other fermenting that we did this week, of course, the one live, this is my fermenting crock, and we did the sauerkraut in the fermenting crock, and that was, I think, day 2 of this week when we were doing fermenting, making sauerkraut, and then the sourdough day 2. And then another fermenting that we did this week, I think I also did this one on day 2, this is fermenting some vegetables. And this has zucchini, onions, fresh garlic cloves, fresh rosemary, and some black peppercorn. And this is fermenting, and you can see the bubbles, how that's fermenting, very nice. And then on day 3, yesterday, we did fermenting some cucumbers. So this is cucumbers, onions, fresh garlic cloves, and pickling spice. And we started fermenting this one yesterday. So this is all a week of fermenting. And why am I talking about fermenting vegetables? Or like sauerkraut or fermented vegetables. Your body has good bacteria and bad bacteria. And whenever you're fermenting vegetables, like your sauerkraut or your cucumbers or the vegetables, this is the way they used to do it many years ago. It was a way for them to preserve their food, And it also has a natural probiotic. So by fermenting these 5 to 7 days, be it your sauerkraut over here in the crock or vegetables like these, if you let them ferment for 5 to 7 days and then put them in the refrigerator, that'll slow down any fermenting. And if you just take it out and eat a little bit of it, it gives you good gut health. It helps balance out your good and your bad bacteria. So this has a natural probiotic and it's very healthy. So that's why we're talking about fermenting this week. And this is just a few things that I've fermented and I'm sharing this week. And so I think that's all we did so far this week. And then each day we've went through day 1 of starting the starter dough from scratch, the sourdough starter from scratch, to day 2. What do we do on day 2 to our starter dough? Day 3, what do we do? And day 4, which was today, what do we do with our starter dough? I'd love to see how you did that. This whole week, yes, if you go back, Monday was starting the sourdough from scratch, and then Tuesday was day 2, how I fed it, what we did, and then day 3, today's day 4. And then I also did all of these different fermentings this week as well. So those are all on this week's lives. And I normally come on earlier in the morning, but I was up with one of my Maltese puppies all night last night. He just didn't feel good. He kept me up all night. So Granny only had about an hour's sleep. What is the liquid in the water? That's called a brine. Now, when I do my vegetables, you'll see that I'm taking salt. You'll take salt. And whenever you're using, when you're making your brine, you want to use a salt that has no iodine. Canning salt is preferred, or kosher salt, because neither one of them have any iodine. And when I'm doing my vegetables, it's 1 teaspoon to 2 cups of water is what I'm using. The reason I'm using that is because I'm not expecting that to be a long-term fermented vegetable. I'm just doing small batches. If I wanted it to be longer, I would do 1 tablespoon to 2 cups of water. And of course, I'm using bottled water or filter water. So that is the liquid that you're seeing in my fermented jars. And the salt water will help to ferment the vegetables. And once they get to the taste that you want, normally about 5 days, I'll go ahead, and then on top, you have to keep your vegetables submerged. So I just have in a larger jar a gallon Ziploc freezer baggie with some water, and it's on top of that jar. And that's keeping my vegetables down inside of the jar. And then I'm using a jar that does not have a seal, because this has to be able to burp. So what I'm doing is I've got that gallon Ziploc baggie with some water, and that almost forms a nice little seal. And then this will almost burp itself, but I've got it sitting on my counter on my island looking pretty for 5 to 7 days. So maybe once a day when I walk by, or a couple times, I'll just raise the lid, let it burp naturally. That way I know all the gases have been released. And then just let it sit there. And the same thing with the cucumbers. I have a small sandwich bag filled with water to hold down my vegetables. I've got a lid on there, but I just have this one laid on there. It's not tight. That way I know it can naturally burp, and I'll do the same thing. I'll just maybe walk by once a day, take the lid off, and allow it to burp. And these are so healthy for you. And you can reach down in there and take one out and taste it. And if it's about what you like on day 5, just remove your plastic bag, close your lid, put it in the refrigerator. And then if you just want to put a few over your salad or just eat a few like you would pickles, this is a natural probiotic. It helps to keep a good, healthy gut. Can you keep it in the refrigerator? Yes. And once you do put this in the refrigerator on day 5, this will last for a long time because it's been fermented in your salt water. So I'm saying probably, not years, but it's gonna last. No, no, babies. I just make small batches, and this is almost like having a let me go over here and get my puppies. Hey, guys. Come on, guys. No. Sorry, they heard somebody pulling in next door. So anyway, that's put in the refrigerator, and I'll just go in and take a few out and eat them. It's a good probiotic. It helps to keep your stomach, your gut healthy, and if you've had a cold or a flu, this is a natural probiotic, and it's helping to balance back out your good and bad bacteria in your body. And sauerkraut is also very good. It has the same probiotic, which will help balance out your good and bad bacteria and help you keep a healthy gut. But anyway, my puppies are being noisy, and as you can see, Granny is a little tired this morning with a 1 hour sleep, plus my little bitty nap I took right before I come on, so I'm running a little late. So I'm going to hop off of here, and I'll be back on tomorrow to do day 5 of the sourdough starter and what we do next. So until next time, till tomorrow, goodbye, everybody. Have an absolutely wonderful Thursday. Don't be afraid to try new things in your kitchen. Enjoy your kitchen. Have fun. Experiment. But always follow the proper guidelines if you're preserving or canning or fermenting. Use the USDA guidelines. It's easy to Google it. It's easy to. Granny, you have a nice day. Get some rest. Love you. I will check in tomorrow. I will. Thank you, Betty. So this is, it's fun. You're never too old or too young to learn new things. You can Google the correct salt to water ratio for fermenting. You can Google it. Depending on what size you're going to use, you can Google it. Like mine, I used, excuse me, 2 cups of water. I just asked Google, what's the correct salt to water brine solution for 2 cups of water? And it told me 1 tablespoon. So you can, make sure you're doing this safely, correctly, follow the USDA guidelines. Keep yourself safe, your family safe whenever you're preserving, canning, or fermenting. So I will see you tomorrow. Have a wonderful day. And bye-bye, everybody. See you tomorrow. Enjoy your Thursday.